Welcome everybody to the M2 podcast. We are on episode 22. So this is the podcast where we basically cover esports and personalities, gaming industry related news, new and upcoming games, and some technology and innovation. I am your host, Michael Anthony, my co-host, Mr. Jake Heath, aka Kyle Heath. And what we like to do before we get every episode started is to basically check in, do a little bit of a check-in. So Kyle, what have you had going on the last week?
Oh, hey, I've actually had a lot going on this week. It's kind of crazy. But for the most part, been a lot of content, the usual there. Nothing crazy. Um, got kind of a low key project I'm working on now too. Both kind of like with the game and with editing. So can't really give detail, but I'm hoping soon I'll be able to go in depth. But yeah, that's super exciting stuff. So yeah, really happy about that. And that's been that's like I think it's really been most of my week. I was trying to remember if I played much. Of course, I'm still playing through Hellblade, and streaming
Yeah.
that. That's I still have I think probably 2 to 3 hours left of that game. Hopefully hoping I can finish that up over this coming weekend. But yeah. Oh, other than that, of course, last on Sunday we had the Xbox conference. Definitely be going over that.
Oh yeah.
After not too much time here, so very exciting stuff there. But yeah, it was a lot of just kind of watching games and a little bit of playing and a lot of in between. So what about you, Mike?
About the same except for like the whole editing and stuff. So I've been working hard with the team for Halo Infinite. I've been grinding that game a little bit more. I still to update people that are interested in Rocket League, I have still not gotten back to champ. I've played a handful of games. I swear, man, I'm like win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And I just need to get more consistent with how I play and I'll be a champ in no time. Outside of that, I got on the cycle Frontier
Oh,
finally.
nice. Yeah.
So I played a couple of games by myself in the beta, and now I guess it's in full release now, free to play. It's like knockoff Escape from Tarkov with like a bunch of twists and a little bit more less hardcore, I think is the best way to describe it. So if anybody's familiar with Escape from Tarkov, I've been playing that game. And I played that with Spartan Boomer. So shout out to Boomer. He was one of the guests on the show, friend of the show,
Nice.
essentially.
Mm.
Yeah. He taught me everything. He was going through like, man, there's a lot of nuances with that game. And he was basically trying to explain everything to me in such a short amount of time. And I'm just like, bro, you are overloading my brain right now. Let's just like, how about we do this? Tell me the bare minimum. Let's jump into a game. And then when I have questions, you can answer them. So he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So by the end of it, I was feeling a little bit more confident. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've had going on.
Yeah.
And
No, I find that out. Like I every time I play a new game, I feel like that's my preference. Like I can sit there and ask like a million things or like try and
mhm.
get someone to tell me everything. But like at the end of the day, like it's even funnier with a multiplayer game too, because like if you're playing like a PvP game, it's like you don't know what's going on, but it makes for like just makes for a lot of fun just to figure out as you play. And like it's just part of the
Oh yeah.
experience, I feel like. So yeah, that'd be me, I think. I'd just feel like I'm just gonna play and figure it out as I go. Because it's fun that
Yeah.
way.
Facts, man. Like I think what I'm gonna start doing again is get back into streaming
Yeah.
and just start playing like maybe a couple hours a week and just play games that I actually want to play and want to enjoy.
Yeah.
So for a while, I mean, you know this, I was just doing like story driven games and just playing all the way through them.
Yeah.
Like I think the last one I really played was Maneater, playing as a shark simulator, running around. I
Yeah.
was having so much fun.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I'm gonna start doing that with I don't know, maybe some Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Break out some Mario Strikers, break out Switch Sports, and I really need to finish Breath of the Wild before the new game comes out. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I need to
yes,
get
sir.
around to that too. Switch gets dusty sometimes, and I feel like I should hop on it. So I need to make it happen.
Yeah, the big thing with Switch though is like I was really, really hoping that the rumors were true that they were going to come out with a 4K version of the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of sitting and waiting. I was like, I want to get another one, and like wait for that, and then I don't think it's coming. So
Yeah,
now I'm like, yeah, now I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll just play with what I got and
yeah.
be happy with it.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate too, because when they were like talking about the second Switch or like the in between Switch for their until their next
Hmm.
console, it's kind of like everyone was hoping for like a higher res like portable device, but it was just OLED. Which don't get me wrong, OLED displays are awesome, but
Yeah, but
it was definitely a more minor update than people were expecting.
yeah, it's not 4K,
Yeah, it's
so
not.
it is what it is. Um,
Yeah,
Anyways, so what do you got for us this week? I think we had a pretty decent week, especially with like our last episode we recorded on Thursday, and that was at the beginning of the Summer Games Fest.
yeah.
So I know we're going to be covering some of that later this episode, but what else happened that some people might have missed?
Well, why don't we just get right into it? Um, yeah, we'll definitely at some point later on in this episode go in depth with Xbox. There wasn't too, at least for me, there weren't too many more conferences I watched. I call it some of the bits and pieces, some of the relevant stuff from like the Capcom showcase and everything. Probably won't go too much into detail of that because I know, especially for the Capcom showcase, it's always like there may be a couple of bits and pieces they don't talk about in previous like showcases, like earlier in the week, but for the most part, it's kind of just nothing new really. Regardless, the first I wanted to kind of start off this week. We don't really have too many like funny like articles. I feel like that we cover, so just a little tech related article I found. This poor person um ended up buying. I guess they were trying to buy something off some like audio equipment from Sonos, and they ended up with $1,500 or $15,000 worth of audio equipment, and the company charged them for it, and they didn't even like order it. Um, Very unfortunate stuff. But this article is from PC Gamer. I'm just gonna read the opening paragraph because it's just all around funny. Um, there's nothing quite like the excitement of waiting for a fun package to arrive. It's if it's a surprise, there's the anticipation of the unknown, and when it's a sneaky little self gift, then there's the benefit of knowing the buyer had excellent taste. Sweet anticipation of waiting by the window for the postal van to pull up, and then the exhilarating moment where the package as you've been waiting for is finally brought to your doorstep. Perhaps one of the few things that to top getting an eagerly awaited package delivered is, of course, getting not one but several. Though this could be a worry when you weren't expecting them. When 5 boxes suddenly turn into 30, this is the sharp turn of dreams becoming nightmares, as one person discovered when Sonos decided to send them 6 times their original order, or about $15,000 worth of products, and charge them for it. Um, and then article goes on to describe a little bit more, saying The Verge has been reporting it. There was a glitch affecting Sonos's online store. Many customers found their orders ended up going through multiple times due to the problems with Sonos's systems. And so it ended up sending buyers far more than they actually ordered. So it's like essentially just duplicating orders, and they don't realize they're actually like duplicating orders. Which I feel like for an online store is like the last bug you want on the planet because that's like
Oh
just
my
a
god,
PR
no.
nightmare waiting to happen. Um, but yeah, it's apparently people on Reddit kind of started making sense of what was going on and how this could have happened. But rather unfortunate that a bug like that leads to you having $15,000 worth of audio equipment that you didn't order, and it's probably just a bunch of duplicates on top of that. So
Oh yeah, you know it is.
it's like it's like what do you do? I guess you just like do you try and like I guess reach out to customer service, see if they can do something, or do you try to just resell it? Like I don't know what the play is here.
Oh, the play? If I'm that person, right? My play is to call them immediately.
Yeah.
And then I would hit them. I would hit them in writing with what you actually ordered, and then I'd hit them with like how much you got charged, how much you were invoiced,
Yeah.
and basically be like, "Yo, we gotta talk about this
Yeah.
ASAP."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rough. 15 grand out of your pocket. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
they
know.
did by credit card, but jeez,
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a conclusion, at least I saw in
there
the
wasn't.
article. It's
Not
kind
in
of
the
just
article.
like, yeah, it's kind of just like this person got screwed. So, um, but I mean, again, I think if it was me, I'm like, I got Sonus on the line. I'm like hitting them up. Like, if it doesn't work the first time, I'm getting through however many reps I can until eventually I get to the right
Oh
person that can
yeah,
help me.
I'm calling. constantly, and I'm hitting 0 or 1 or whatever, like, cheat code it is
Yeah.
to keep pressing until you talk to a human.
Yeah, just immediate pass by the system.
Oh, yeah. I would
Yeah.
do something as extreme as, like, finding high-level execs on LinkedIn and start, like, messaging them.
Like, can you help me, please?
Or help me, someone. This is 15 grand. Dextero and PC Gamer are writing about you right now.
No. And see, I know, Mike, I know you're not a litigator. Probably don't know the exact answer, but do you think this is grounds to sue? Right here. Do you think this is a case?
Ooh,
That's the thing. I feel like
I
maybe like the buggy site may be leverage, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of just like unfortunate.
okay, I think it's based on time and response.
Yeah.
Okay, so if this were to happen to you and you didn't get a response within, let's say, 7 business days,
Yeah.
not counting the weekend, right? I think after that you can file a lawsuit and probably win.
Yeah, maybe.
'Cause there's gotta be some time. I forgot what the term is, but there's definitely gotta be a term where it's like correspondence between, like, a customer and a client.
Yeah.
Like correspondence between a customer and, like, the facility you're buying from or, like, the vendor or manufacturer.
Yeah.
Um, because it does take time just to talk to people now. So,
So
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know, but I definitely would try not to sue. I would just try to get my money back.
Yeah.
Just be like, "I'll send you all the equipment back. I don't want this.
Yeah.
Just give me my money back."
Yeah. I don't know. I think especially if they're a good company, it's very much like you were saying. It's kind of just like we
Yeah.
can do this really easily if I just like send you back. Like I don't care if I have to like pay for shipping or whatever. It is what it is. Just I don't want this. Like just give me the money back for the product.
Yeah, you know what the biggest goat move would be? Because right now it's a PR night storm, like nightmare. Sorry, night storm, a PR nightmare. The best thing they could do, which I don't think they really would, because it'll be a huge hit. But they're just like, listen, we'll give you your money back. You can keep it.
Yeah. That.
Treat
Oh.
it like getting the wrong order through a drive-through. Just
Yeah.
keep it.
Yeah. Right.
We can't take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't take it back.
just
You know?
yeah. If they were to
Yeah.
do that, I mean, the next article would be like, Sanos gives away free equipment.
Yeah. I know.
All of a sudden, their sales are gonna go through the roof.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
Because that could work in their favor, you know? If they
oh
like,
yeah,
if they're like, yo, $1,500, like we'll take that hit if it means we're gonna get like quadruple that in the next week in sales. It's like,
yeah, yeah. Just be like, well, we'll give it to them for free. It's our glitch, and then people are gonna start going to Sanos. I would go to Sanos and be like, what do they have? Maybe I can take advantage of a glitch.
yeah, right. Yo,
You know,
did they patch this bug yet? Like, let me see this.
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's buy like $300 worth of headphones. You know.
Yeah, just get the cart to glitch out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I don't again we don't know the conclusion of the person that got shafted like this, but we wish and hope for the best. Hopefully Sonos did you right. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, it is not okay. So the original article came from The Verge, and Sonos hasn't offered him anything for the inconvenience of converting his apartment into a Sonos storage. You know, besides the courtesy of free shipping labels used to fix the problem they caused in the first place.
Oh man.
So yeah, they're trying to rectify it, but it hasn't been entirely resolved. At least they're contacting the person this
Yeah.
happened to.
Yeah, at least they're on it, I guess. Um
Yeah, fun story.
fun story. Another fun story with Prime Day coming up for Amazon Prime members over the next month. Um Amazon is going to be giving away 30 games, including Mass Effect Legendary Edition, next month on Prime Day. Uh, Prime Day giveaways. It's for those that don't know, Amazon. If you're an Amazon Prime member, which I mean, if you get stuff shipped to your house, or you love watching Twitch, or what are some other stuff? You love music? They have Amazon Music. Like,
Everybody's heard of Amazon at this point.
yeah, I know, household name. Yeah, so Amazon Prime. If every year they do have a Prime Day where they have tons of sales and promotions across their site, and they mark down everything from tech to food to pretty much everything they sell. And this year they're offering 30 free games as part of the Prime Day promotion. It's going to be including Mass Effect Legendary Edition, um, as well as recent Codemasters racing game Grid Legends. That's another one. A couple of big names there. So Prime Day this year is going to be held July 12th and 13th over the course of 2 days. According to Amazon, while the promotion's running, Prime subscribers will be able to download over 30 PC games for free via the Prime gaming service. Other feature titles are 2019's Need for Speed Heat and the trio of classic Star Wars games: Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Star Wars Republic Commando. In the run up to the big days, over 25 indie games will be made available to Prime members for free starting on June 21st. Standouts for the selection include several SNK arcade classics, cult platformer Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams, and color manipulating puzzle adventure Hue. There's a couple of ones to note there. Um, and there's even one more kind of little paragraph that says Prime Gaming is one of the strangest and most easily forgotten offshoots of the spiraling Amazon Prime service. It mostly offers free DLC items and in-game boost, plus a handful of older PC games at any one time. It's no Game Pass for PlayStation Plus, in other words, but it will be worth remembering to log in during Prime Day to claim some of these freebies. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty big for like a Prime. If you're a Prime member, this is one of the, Prime Day is always super awesome. But I mean, the fact that gamers are, we're getting a bunch of games and stuff, it's like makes it a little more worth it. So, especially with big names like this. What do you think, Mike?
Right off the top, I'm really excited. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
The Star Wars Jedi Knight games. Have you ever played them? Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast.
No, I've always heard of oh, what is it? What is the old? It's Knights of the Old Republic. I've always heard of
Yeah, Knights of the
those.
Old Republic. So Knights of the Old Republic is arguably the best ever Star Wars game.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good
Um,
things.
yeah, that it's super highly rated. It's very much beloved by everybody. And people still play it.
Yeah.
Like people love going back and replaying it. There's a huge twist. There's like it's awesome. Uh, Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, and Jedi Outcast has a fantastic story.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely wonderful story. You would actually like it. What was the most recent Star Wars game?
Jedi, I guess Fallen Order. That's
Fallen
probably
Order. Yeah, and they're making a
yeah.
sequel.
Yeah, they're
So
making
Fallen
yeah.
Order is kind of similar, where you're creating your own niche in this like Star Wars universe as a Jedi. Like not niche, your own, like, what do you call it? You're chiseling your own history into it. Your character
Yeah.
that you're following has its own path. It's its own. You're adding to the story, the overall universe. Star Wars Jedi Knight also does that, but the thing that set Jedi Knight apart, specifically Jedi Outcast, was this online PvP mode, like arena battling, where you can get down, like, dude, the customizable features in your Jedi, where you could basically choose from different species. You can make them look a certain way, behave a certain way. You have different stances of how to hold the lightsaber, how many lightsabers you want to have, which way they point, up and down, like dual lightsabers, like
Mm.
different stances, either aggressive, passive, like attacking, defensive, and like you can have different abilities for force, like all the different force abilities. I'm like, bro, I used to play that nonstop on the Xbox. So Star Wars Knight is probably, like, I think, in my opinion, is a must play for people that like Star Wars. And anybody that's been watching or paying attention to Fallen Order and the new like saga that EA's been on to like rebuild the Battlefront era of games, like, you got to go back, especially right now. If you have Amazon Prime, which is like, I'm not gonna say everybody, but it's most people at this point, download the games and play them. Yes, they're dated. They're from 2004, 2006. I'm going off of my memory right now because I was young when I was playing them, but I mean, you got to go back and play them. They're must plays
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's something worth checking out, and I'm about to get them for free over the next month, so definitely gonna check them out for sure. Um, but yeah, not too much else to report. It's a big Prime Day's coming up, so just keep an eye out for games. And honestly, just keep an eye out for tech deals too, because there's gonna be a lot of them. So,
Yeah,
um,
just real quick about that. Like, just going on for the next 3 to 4 months, we're really going to start seeing some tech deals, especially when it comes to AMD products,
yeah,
Intel products, just the new CPU lineup coming, and then hopefully this supply chain issue that's been crippling the world economy for the last 2 years
Yeah.
just starts getting fixed. I'm not an like politician or know what's happening, but trying to be hopeful at the same
Yeah.
time, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Uh, You know what else I'm hopeful for?
Oh, tell me. Is it
Ah,
Sony?
it is Sony. Funny enough.
I love Sony right now.
Yeah, I do too. They're pretty cool. Uh, but they actually reportedly are planning to announce new hardware soon, which is including a PS5 Pro controller. Very exciting stuff there. If at all you are a competitive gamer of any sort, or you just love a good gamepad, Sony is. They seem to be entering the Pro controller market very soon, which I know for me, I mean, I got an Xbox. I have an Elite Series 2 Xbox controller, and if it's anything like the quality of that, which I'm sure Sony will probably do that, if not better, it's gonna be pretty rad to have this controller. I'd really like the Elite Series 2. I mean, the biggest thing, which a lot of people, a lot of owners of that controller say, is the bumpers. Which I mean, if you've ever like
Hmm.
seen the internals, it's very, very like cheap design on the bumpers. It's like there's not really much there, so there's a reason I
Are
guess
you
they break so much, but
which bumpers are you referring to? The ones on the Xbox?
yeah, like
Or
right and left bumper, the top right and left on the Xbox
oh, okay.
Series 2.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So those bumpers break pretty easily. So that's been like one complaint I hear a lot about. But other than that, very solid controller, very well made. It's very sturdy for the most part. It feels like it's one of those controllers that it's got a little weight to it, and I don't know what it is. Technology that has like a little weight to it, I always love. Like I know there's like some tech that tries to be light or whatever, but like stuff like like an iPhone or just like a smartphone, like especially if it's not super thin, it just like feels like expensive. Is the best way to describe it. There's something about that. It just like makes you feel a certain way, you know. So,
My
um,
man sounded materialistic right now.
yeah, just a little bit, you know.
I like a watch that will sink me
Yeah,
when I go
see,
swimming.
yeah, see, like that. Nah, I don't need I don't need a heavy watch weighing my wrist down. But
No,
eh,
I'm just teasing. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you want something that's sturdy and that can like take impact. You know, you don't. It doesn't feel cheap. I think is the best way to put it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And before we move on, there actually is a little. There was a little more to this on the actual story itself. So I said the industry insider Tom Henderson claims to have heard from several sources that the platform holder will unveil new hardware at the end of June, although it will not include a new console, of course. But anyways, he described a genuine professional controller for PS5. The new pad will reportedly feature removable analog sticks, grips, trigger stops, and back paddles. Um,
Good.
Buttons under the analog sticks are said to allow users to remove the analog unit completely, presumably enabling them to replace it with a newer one rather than having to buy another controller should issues with stick drift arise. Anderson said that he was provided with the images of the alleged prototype of the PS5 Pro controller, which it's claimed will have significant software upgrades. Yeah, I will say, very interesting stuff there. They're trying to essentially, you know, combat the whole stick drift. I mean, that's the biggest issue with most controllers,
Mhm.
especially
Yep.
like as they start aging, is that just the stick drift gets real bad. And it's something that, I mean, it's something that, you know, it's apparently so bad to the point like where it's kind of like, it's almost like batteries. There's no real like evolution to it yet, or like, you know, revolutionary way of
Oh
doing
yeah.
it. So you just have to replace it. It's kind of just is what it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, stick drift has been a problem since N64.
Yeah.
Really, like
Yeah.
since when they first started adding in joysticks. Even in fighting games, I mean, the people that are then in fighting games know exactly what I'm talking about. Like after time, it physically wears and tears, gets gunk, gets like debris, whatever, all types of things, and then it loses quality.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I'm
And
super excited about this.
yeah, I mean, and like, you know, I'm trying to think here. Controllers that have done this. I mean, I know the Thrustmaster, they have the removable, like the controller you normally use for like the Xbox controller that has removable analogs.
Yeah,
So like that's one
it's
example of a
super nice.
controller that's like thinking about, you know, trying to think ahead and like past like the analog thing, because you know most pro controllers I mean, you have to buy a new one. You can't like replace the analogs. So the fact that Sony's putting this into consideration, I think it's really promising, and it really shows that they want this controller to be something that you have for a long time, and you won't have to just completely buy a new one, which is, you know, that's for the consumer through and through, man. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah, and
there's uh, so a lot of my friends and myself, we concentrate a lot on the game pads and which game pads are going to be the best for you
yeah.
for different applications. So like I personally have three main controllers that I use on a regular basis. If I'm not using mouse and keyboard, of course. So the first one is the Thrustmaster, which I always use for Halo, like any competitive Halo that I play with, except for so Halo 5 I'll use it. Halo Infinite particular is the main one I use it for. And I will use it a little bit for racing games because it's so accurate. It's like crazy accurate on the joysticks, and you really need that for control unless you have a steering wheel. That's like the
Yeah.
only way to get
Oh,
better. Um, but for a game like Halo 2 and Rocket League, even I'm using the PS2. Yeah, so I'll use the PS2, sorry, the PS4 DualShock controller for Halo 2 with a button pad attachment. And
uh,
then for Rocket League, I use the PS5 controller.
mm,
So it's like PS5 and PlayStation in general, the one thing that they cannot compete with when it comes to Xbox is their controllers. Their controllers are just better. They're
yeah.
faster, they're sturdier, they're made better, they last longer. Like everything about them is better. And the only thing that Xbox really had was the Elite controller, the
Yeah.
Elite 2 controller with the button pads. And man, those things would like, they fall apart pretty
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for what PS5's got coming to us with the Pro controller.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean it's true, man. That Elite series, I mean, although it's a good controller, it's like
They're gonna
I mean,
last.
I think most Xbox based controllers, it's kind of like the same thing. It's
Yeah.
like, it's very rare that someone says, I had that thing for 4 years and it was fine. Like you almost never hear like stuff like
No.
it's like, normally within a year or two they're having to get a new one. Um so yeah, I'm very excited to see Sony out the gate here with this, and it's later this month according to this rumor, so maybe sooner than we think.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's cheap, but this is going to be a direct competitor to the Elite controller. So, what do you think the price point is?
Oh, I mean, 150, 200 probably, if I had to guess. I mean, removable
Yeah.
analogs, I don't know if that's going to increase the price. I mean, it's surely there's a possibility it might though, because you're paying more upfront, but like just being able to replace those analogs, it's going to be much cheaper in
Right.
the long run. So like you're making that upfront investment, right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, they may be able to justify them having a better price for that, or a higher price.
Yeah. I'm thinking 160.
160.
It's about 160.
Yeah. But honestly, yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah, I would either that or 200. you know, Sounds like a premium
Yeah.
product, so
Oh, it's
definitely,
yeah, for sure.
definitely see,
For sure.
definitely see when it comes out.
Yeah.
Premium
But
this thing is.
tying in from last episode, if Xbox partnering with Samsung and Bluetooth controllers. I
Yeah,
mean, this is the controller to grab. I'm just saying. Like,
yeah,
it'll be sick.
yeah, definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. Anyways, moving on to the next little thing here. Before we go into the major showcasey stuff, um, I wanted to I wanted to present kind of an article that made me laugh a little bit, right? Because I saw this around a few news outlets, and I felt like it was kind of obvious, but anyways, it says that Todd Howard from The Verge, they gave it an even funnier headline. They said Todd Howard says the words Fallout 5, and it's set to arrive after Elder Scrolls 6. So with the Xbox showcase, there was no mention of Elder Scrolls 6 or anything like that. The Xbox
Nope.
showcase was meant to only show games that are going to release within the next 12 months. That was what they said up front, and that was kind of how they played it out. So with that being said, of course, Elder Scrolls 6, Fable, a bunch of those games that, Xbox has been talking about for a while weren't mentioned. But there was also a extended showcase that was done for Xbox that was on, I believe it was on Tuesday. It was Tuesday the 14th. They did a extended showcase. And Todd Howard, of course, has done interviews since, and he said in a recent interview that yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is in pre-production, and we're going to be doing Fallout 5 after that. So their slate is pretty full going forward for a while over at Bethesda Game Studios. There's no indication about what we when we can expect Fallout 5 to be released. I mean, if I had to, if I had to guess, like Fallout 5 is probably 2028, 2029, maybe even
Yeah.
2030, depending on how long it takes to make an Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, because I mean, 2022. We've heard, of course, an announcement of Elder Scrolls 6, but they're just in pre-production. So it's like it's
So
2022 and they're not even in like full production yet. Um, especially with the release of Starfield. I mean, that's going to be, once that's released, that'll be out the door, and I think they can probably allocate more resource to it. But they probably have some small team kind of working on the early stages of this right now. So I mean, we're definitely not going to probably hear much next year at all. 2024, we maybe will see like a trailer or something, maybe, but that's depending on how much they do with Starfield and Fallout 76 and all that. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm thinking 2025, 2026 is probably where we're gonna get like initial gameplay on this. So it's gonna be a while, and then that's when we get gameplay. But there's probably gonna be a year or two after that of continued development. So that lands 2028, 2029, if I had to guess. Um, and the article goes on to say, given how long we've been waiting for Starfield, and the fact that we know basically nothing about Elder Scrolls 6, notes that Howard said, game is still in pre-production despite being announced 4 years ago, which I completely forgot. I mean, yeah, it has been 4 years. It was 2018 was when that was announced, along with
yeah.
76. It seems likely that Fallout 5 is a long ways away from actually coming out. I mean, yeah. So if we're pinning at Elder Scrolls 6 at 2028, I mean, Fallout 5 20. I mean, depending. I mean, because you got to think too. I mean, if this game is coming out in 8 to 10 years, like, what's technology going to do between now and then? Like, what's going to be the meta of gaming? Is VR going to be so advanced by that point that they're gonna have to develop it in like a VR fashion? I don't know, maybe not. Maybe that's too far, but it's like there's just no telling in a 10-year gap. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying because you don't really know where the market's going to go. Because,
Yeah,
like, for example, battle royales in general, they weren't really that popular 10 years ago. And then they just spurred up in like 2017, right? 2018.
yeah,
And now every single game has to have a battle royale.
yeah.
It's like, how
Seems
long
like
is that
it.
really going to last? Like, if VR comes out now and it becomes super popular, will it be popular in 10 years?
Yeah,
It's like it's one of those
yeah,
things where the development is going to be so long that you can't really predict how it's going to be. I think the one thing that we could definitely agree on is the game has to be finished. They can't have the same type of launch that Fallout 76 had.
yeah.
I
Definitely not.
No, especially with how long it takes to make these games, the Fallout franchise, and just like how long Bethesda takes on their projects. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you work really long and it's a really good game, nobody's going to complain. But if you work really long and it turns out to not be finished, people are going to lose their minds, and
Yeah,
that's all they're going to talk about. So, how many of those hits can you take?
yeah,
And I don't think they could take any more, to be honest.
yeah. I don't think so either. I mean, it's gonna be really telling when Starfield's out, right? Of like,
Yeah, yeah, I think
have they
so.
figured it out? That's kind of the thing. And I mean, I didn't think about this too much too, but like, especially with Elder Scrolls 6, are they gonna try and use the same engine? Or are they gonna try and like modify the
Rebuild
creation
it.
engine?
Yeah,
Like, there's just so much that could be at play with that. Um, I think. I mean, I would hope by that time they've at least evolved the engine a little bit. So, you gotta factor that in, how long that would take because it's their own proprietary thing, creation engine. Um, so it's I mean, who knows? Are they gonna switch to like Unreal 5, Unreal 6? What are we gonna be at by then? It's like,
or are they going to have their own that's better? We
yeah,
don't know.
Creation 2. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. Um,
it could be insane. Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of factors here. So like, yeah, like great. I mean, Fallout 5 is, it's eventually going to come out. Like it's great to hear, but at the same time, one, I already kind of expected this, and two,
Hmm.
there's so many factors and independent variables and like and things that can just affect the the length of time we'll have to wait for this. It just didn't. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not really exciting to me right now because it's like I know it's so far down the road.
Right.
Um.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I I I think we gotta. They probably have a timeline of like events, and I think they gotta hit Starfield first. Make sure that actually like slaps, like it's really good, and then they can start concentrating on Fallout 5. But if they launch Starfield and it's not finished, and they got to still have resources on that game, I mean, that just throws everything back. You know,
A couple of years at least.
at least, at least.
Yeah, yeah. We'll go more in detail on Starfield in a little bit here. I'm not gonna go talk about it too much yet, but yeah. Um, I don't know. It is what it is. I saw this and I was just like, yeah, cool. I know it's gonna be a thing. I'm not like getting
Yeah,
excited about it really. So
yeah.
um,
We'll see you in 6 years.
yeah, like exactly. We got to see how the next game goes. They need to recover from 76, which Starfield will be
Yeah,
the first true sign of that if that was achieved or not.
and it's a big deal because it'll be the first game under Bethesda with Microsoft.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's got to slap.
Yeah,
It's got to be good.
yeah, that's the thing, dude. There's like so many, like my brain is like bouncing around so many different things right now. Like, we could literally go on a whole episode talking about if
Yes.
if games if games are like too ambitious. Anyway, we'll get to that when we get to Starfield because that's when it'll become more
Just
relevant.
look at No Man's
Um,
Sky, man.
yeah, I
Just look
mean,
at No Man's Sky.
when we get to Starfield, Mike, we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about that. Um, oh, but I will say there's a lot of games. There's some games coming up that I'm excited for and look very interesting. One of them being
Oh yeah.
Sonic Frontiers, which we got more
Yeah.
gameplay for. There was gameplay that
Show the
was
people some game.
yeah there was there was gameplay we got at the start of June. Didn't really show too much, or I feel like it wasn't as like captivating. But this new section of gameplay that they showed off this past week looks very from what I saw in the comments too. A lot of people are saying this looked a lot better than the initial showcase, and we're wondering why some of the
Yes.
stuff wasn't included. Which yeah, after you watch it, it's like yeah, no, it's a good question really. But yeah, so I mean, overall, I'm gonna keep saying it. This is Breath of the Wild Sonic. You know, I'm like they may not want it to be labeled that way, but like I just look at this and I'm like they just took Sonic and threw him in the Breath of the Wild universe. Am I wrong, Mike?
You know what? I don't think you're wrong. I would also add one more element to it.
So
Mario Galaxy.
yeah, I can see that too.
I there are some elements that I'm seeing from Mario Galaxy with just like the level of velocity that Sonic goes with and like basically bending gravity, you
Yeah,
know? And just how fast he is. It's just like this is here's the interesting thing too, is like you definitely see Breath of the Wild, like the art style for sure. You see a little bit of elements from Mario Galaxy that I'm mentioning with like defying gravity and like physics, but the big thing is like this is still obviously a Sonic game.
yeah, yeah,
Like everything about this, like the running, the collecting the coins, like the animations of Sonic, it's a Sonic game.
yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think it pulls away from that. At
yeah, I
least from
think
what
it's
we see here.
reinventing. Yeah, I think it's reinventing their maybe the franchise, man. Maybe this
I'm,
could be the future of Sonic.
I mean, yeah. It's one of those things. It's like we're seeing. I think we're definitely seeing these franchise because I mean, let's just be honest for a second. The Sonic franchise, at least from what I've seen, there's been nothing like super captivating for me as like a not Sonic not super like Sonic fan or anything. Like I like Sonic.
Yeah.
I played Sonic Adventure Battles too. I played the absolute like crap out of that game. I loved it. Um, but like yeah, I mean those games were fun. That was the last time I was like really indulged in a Sonic game. But I mean,
I think
especially recently, we haven't really seen much that's been like crazy. You know.
we got movies.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I mean, the
about
movies aren't
it.
bad, yeah. But it's like,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's about it.
but like looking at this, it's cool to see that they're taking ideas and elements from other franchises who probably revitalized, or maybe not even revitalized. They just kind of took a different take on the world. And it seems so far from the gameplay, it looks very very entertaining. Like I would like definitely see myself like playing in this world. Um, Maybe
Yeah.
yeah. I'll be curious to see how they do like story wise and how they wrote that in. If it's gonna be kind of like Breath of the Wild 2, where it's not gonna really hold your hand. It's just gonna kind of be like, okay, you could do this, but it's open world, so you can do whatever you
Yeah.
want. Like every because like I saw a video on like Breath of the Wild on the first Breath of the Wild because I didn't fully understand it. I remember when I was like first playing it, but it's like But like all it is like that game like is very much like your objective is to find and beat Ganondorf. That's like that is the
Yeah,
big that's number one objective. And like although it doesn't really outline that, you know that's what you're going for. Like you know that's the objective. So like you kind of have an idea. But it's very kind of like just freelance, like here, just do what you want. And so I'm getting that vibe here. Um I mean the combat. I mean, are you seeing this, Mike? Look at this combat.
yeah,
It looks sick.
yeah. The combat it looks pretty sick. It actually reminds me of Super Smash,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
with Sonic the Hedgehog coming out and start smacking people around.
Yeah. And this scene right here too, like the different time of days, the different elements, like I mean just looking at
Yes,
this, it's like,
Breath of the
whoa,
Wild.
like this sunset view is insane. Like, dude, are you kidding me? Like I see this and it just makes me feel like a certain way. Um,
They're reinventing it, man. That's
yeah,
really what it comes down to.
yeah, for sure. We'll show a scene here in a second too of it raining too. Is like weather and stuff like that, weather changes. It's I don't know, it's like open world Sonic. After watching this, like I'm in. I don't know.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be on the wish list
Yeah, for
for
sure.
sure. When does it launch? Do we have we talked about
Um
that?
I don't know if they gave a date. At least not in the gameplay.
I
Um,
will find out for you right now.
yeah, I don't believe. I know there's people that have played, like at least an early build of it. So it's at that stage at least where they're like showing it to like news outlets and stuff. Um, yeah, looks it just
So
looks crazy.
it is slated for holiday 2022, which basically means anytime between November and December.
Uh,
That's
I
what that
see.
means.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, people are playing it too, so it's at a like I said, it seems far enough along.
Yeah, what's pretty nuts is it's going to be on PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So,
I'll be curious to see how it plays in the older consoles. I feel like a lot of games now that are leaving in that the last generation, it's like how we gonna
yeah,
play here? I
yeah,
think
it just breaks.
I mean yeah, I mean we're seeing companies dip out of last gen because I think for the most part it's Cyberpunk proved that there's no reason
Yeah.
to stay and there's there's we just need to move on kind of thing. So
Yeah, it's nice that they're trying to keep the older generations involved, but the truth of the matter is if the way technology has been progressing with how quickly everything's going, like your hardware on PC is becoming outdated within 6 months sometimes. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
So it's like console, do you really want to be playing like the latest FPS shooter on an older generation?
right,
You
yeah,
know? Or
yeah,
like any type of game like that.
yeah. I mean you
It's
probably don't.
unfortunate, but I mean that's just how progress is with technology.
Yeah, it's the way it works, man. It's the way it
Mhm.
works. But but overall, after watching this, very excited. I think
Oh, yeah.
definitely keep an eye. This one right here. Um, also going to be keeping an eye on the tons of new games that were showcased
Oh,
and announced at the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase 2022 at Summer Games Fest.
I'm excited to get into this one.
Oh yeah, a lot to there's a lot to cover. We of course won't go through every single game. We're going to go over pretty much just highlights of what we liked and
Yeah, I
other
think it's mostly
things.
like our personal favorites
Yeah,
that we're most intrigued with.
yeah, yeah. That's how I like to keep it. So that's how we're gonna do it. Um, I'm gonna start off. The showcase opened up with a pretty cool game. Not gonna lie. It's coming out of Bethesda Studios.
Mhm.
It's from the Arcane developers, and it's called Redfall. For those who did not see footage of it, essentially, Redfall is it's a 4-player co-op vampire slayer kind of game.
Yeah,
It looks
first person shooter, you're humans fighting vampires.
yeah, it looks. I mean, just looks sick.
It
I'm gonna skip forward a little bit on the video side to when we're actually fighting some vampires. I mean, it just like it looks like a lot of fun. You could tell that the shooting mechanic and stuff. It looks very doomy almost. Um,
yeah.
it's but I mean, regardless, still looks like as in from the FPS perspective, they got the right guys on, got the right people working on it. Um, yeah, I mean, overall, it looks like there is going to be, a specific amount of characters that you can select from, play as. I did see some, I think it was the blog initially, there was a lot of concerns. If you're gonna have a set amount of players, like set characters to choose from that has specific abilities, and you want to be able to use them, it's not gonna. You don't have to play a given character if one's already taken. Like you can have the same style of character on the same team, which is pretty cool. So they go
Oh, nice.
through. Yeah, I mean, they go through some of the abilities of some of the characters like throughout the trailer as well, and there's a lot of really cool ones. I think there's Jacob Boyer the Deadeye. He's essentially a sniper that has like camouflage, like a camouflage ability and stuff like that. And there's Remy, who is seems like it has like I don't even know what that little bot thing is. It looks funny.
It looks like a companion,
Yeah,
like
almost.
from an RPG.
Yeah. And then there's Layla. This one's actually kind of sick. She has this like telekinetic like umbrella force field that she can like charge at people with and have like a giant shield around her. It's pretty dope.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so there's a set amount of characters, but you're not limited to, you can play whoever you want depending on your squad. Um, so I like that kind of freedom of choice there. But yeah, I mean it's open world. I mean you kind of just run around, do different quests. It's co-op, which is super exciting. I think that's like probably the biggest selling point for this is that you have these characters and these cool abilities, but you can play with your friends. So I mean overall, if I'm hopping on and playing an FPS game, like, and I want to get some boys on, I mean, I think I'm definitely checking this out. I mean, it's
Oh
honestly,
yeah, this is definitely.
I'm going to check this out because guess what, dude? Game Pass.
Yeah,
Pretty much everything they showed in this Xbox showcase, by the way, is day
that's
one
a
Game
good point.
Pass.
Yeah, day
Pretty
one
much,
Game Pass.
like day and day,
Yeah,
baby.
Xbox is just like, yeah, we pretty much partner with everybody now, and everything's gonna be on Game
Yeah,
Pass. So
yeah,
I love this game because it reminds me of Left 4 Dead or what's they Back for Blood, like the
yeah.
franchise. So instead of zombies, it's vampires, but there's not like horde of vampires.
Right, right.
It's just like specialty characters that you're going to be fighting continuously over and over again to get like from one side to another, like a mission kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like it has elements of like exploration. Like
Oh
you're
yeah,
trying to solve a bit of a mystery. There's an overall campaign mission that you're trying to complete in order to save this small isolated town. It has mystic elements to it as well. Definitely like a haunted vibe, but at the same time the art style is very open. Like
yeah.
it looks pretty cool. It's like I like the way they're like I don't know what to say here. Like it just looks fun.
Yeah.
Looks like
Listen,
you
I
can just
mean,
call up you and your buddies and just get in it.
and dude, I'm a sucker for a good FPS. That co-op one on top of that, that's just icing on the cake.
Mhm.
Yeah, it seems like character selection's cool. There's like abilities you can unlock. There's different like rarities, I think, to like weapons and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's there's yeah, this is a very in-depth game, which is super exciting. But I mean, you can see it right here. I'm just gonna pause it on the drop screen at the end. It's coming 2023. Xbox consoles, PC, xCloud. It's coming to Steam, PC Game Pass. I mean,
It's literally on everything, I feel
I
like,
mean,
except for
everything PC,
PlayStation
yeah,
and
everything
Nintendo.
PC, Xbox. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much
It's the Game
everything.
Pass.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much everything on this is like, yo, if it's not out already, well, it's coming day one on Game Pass. So that's like the
Mhm.
best thing about. I think that's like the coolest quality about the Xbox showcase. Is they just like everything on their platform. By the way, if you're paying for Game Pass, like you're gonna get this game. Like, and it's every month they're coming out with something new. So always gonna be something fresh. Um. Anyways, moving on. The next thing that was worth mentioning, I feel like, was the was Riot Games making a pretty
Yes.
crazy announcement for Game Pass members. If you're a current
I
member
did
of
not
Game,
see this.
yeah, like I don't think anyone
Like,
saw
I
this
didn't see
coming.
it coming.
Like I
No
think
way.
everyone I saw watching was like, wait, what? I'm also
Yeah.
just gonna pause it here when it finishes. So, I mean,
It's nuts.
so if
Nuts.
if you are a Game Pass member, pretty soon, if not already, you will have access to all the champions in League of Legends. You'll have access to all the champions within League of Legends Wild Rift. You'll have every agent unlocked in Valorant. You will have the Foundation set unlocked in Legends Runeterra. And in Teamfight Tactics, you'll have every little legend unlocked. Or I guess select little legends. I shouldn't say everyone. That's not like, all of them, but still, like, I mean, the fact that you're getting all this, which if you play any of the games I just mentioned, I
You're mad.
Yeah, like I feel like you're just upset. Like especially if you
If you don't
grinded
have Game
like,
Pass.
oh, like
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you play any Riot game, you definitely want to get it at this point. But let's think, it's I certainly feel bad for people who have grinded for years and all of a sudden they're just like, oh yeah, we're just giving all this out by the way. So, but it's great for new players. You want to hop in, you don't want to have to worry about unlocking stuff. It's a way to do it.
Oh, it looks so good too.
I know the trailers are just like so sick. Um, it's another thing Riot does. Riot does those movies and the lore and everything. They do a really good job of that. But yeah, that was pretty much it. There's no like new game really there, but it's just like that was a huge like that was in like the first 10 minutes, and it's just like whoa, like what is this about to
Yeah,
have?
yeah, like, to me, it's already a win.
Yeah,
Like, immediately, it's like, "Yeah, go get Game Pass." That's what Xbox
yeah,
basically is trying to show.
yeah,
All these new games are gonna be coming to Game Pass day one,
right,
and not only that, but we got some of the most popular games in the world on our platform now, and
yeah,
by the way, you unlock all the characters, so have fun.
yeah. It's just like I mean, it's just Xbox proven time and time again why Game Pass is goated. And
Yeah.
look, if you listen to this show, you already know. I mean, but I feel like even if you weren't listening to this show and like you're just joining, it's like you've heard Game Pass touted across the industry and praised, like universally. It's a
Just
value,
loved, yeah.
man. It's a value for sure. Um,
It's insane.
yeah, very very exciting stuff there. However, I'm gonna move on. Uh, there was a Plague Tale Requiem, which is a sequel to a Plague Tale. I don't know if there's probably a lot of people out there that have played the first Plague Tale. If not, I hear it's really good. It's on my list of it's probably something I'm gonna play next in terms of like story driven games. Sounds really good, but there's more info on the second game, so if you're interested in that. That followed up the Riot Games announcement, but we were actually gonna skip over to the Forza Motorsport announcement. Pretty much showed off a brand new Forza Motorsport game. And I know Mike, this is racing
Big
games
fan.
right up your alley, man. So,
I
um,
love me some racing games.
I mean, yeah. So, um, yeah. I mean, for the most part, it looks. I don't get me wrong. I mean, every Forza game looks beautiful. Like I can't deny that. And this is certainly no exception to that. They show off the tracks and the weather and like just the cars in general. You have like ray tracing on every vehicle now, so it's like
Yep.
it's just absolutely insane. It looks real, looks good. But yeah, I mean, what were your overall thoughts of what they showed, Mike, for this?
Well, Forza in general is like one of the last exclusives of Xbox and Microsoft.
Yeah,
Um, it's not really like that's why I use air quotes for people that are listening or people watching saw me do it. But the the air quotes are for like it's now on PC,
yeah,
so it's not really an exclusive anymore. But you have to have like the Xbox app to play it.
yeah,
Um, Forza has been steadily getting like Forza Motorsport is being steadily more and more realistic and competitive to the level of like Gran Turismo. And I'm
hmm.
curious if they're going to go to that like iRacing level
Oh yeah,
of seriousness, because what they basically did here in this new bringing it back is they upped the graphics of everything. They added some environmental effects, made everything a little bit more immersive, and like the wear and tear on your vehicle, it impacts the quality of your drive more than it did in the past.
yeah,
So just making it overall more realistic, and I'm pretty excited. Like I love it. I think it's
yeah,
cool. Yeah, since we're talking about Forza just in general, they also have Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels expansion DLC.
yeah,
Something that was in Forza Horizon 4, if I'm not mistaken. They also had a Lego version too. So if you played like Trackmania, it's kind of like that. You're just racing pretty intense, but
yeah,
on Hot Wheels tracks, which means you go upside down and there are boosters and there's like
yeah,
spirals and jumps. So
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's if you like racing games, this is 100% something to check out, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. As racing games, I think the biggest thing was Trackmania was probably my favorite out of all the racing games. That's the one I've done
It's
the
so
most in.
simple.
Yeah,
Yeah, Trackmania is so simple, and it's like it's so easy to watch as well. Like
yeah,
I fall into YouTube rabbit holes of Trackmania.
yeah. But,
Uh,
the times are crazy too because you're just literally trying to get the best times. It's like
Oh
just
yeah,
seeing like
yeah.
these top people, these top players like compete. It's like whoa. Um, so yeah, definitely exciting stuff if you're a racing fan. They had a lot to offer at this showcase.
Yes, they did.
Uh, um, moving on a little bit, Overwatch 2 got a little bit of a trailer and a little more gameplay shown off. They even announced sort of the initial release when this game is coming out.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, I mean, I see this as someone who like I played Overwatch a little bit. I wasn't like super fan. It's a great game though. I can't deny that. And I did have fun for the short time I played. But it's slated to come out Overwatch 2 for October of this year. That's when it's slated to
Mhm.
come out. But yeah, I mean, just watching this, it's kind of like I can't see too much of a difference, which I'm sure there's a lot more to it than surface level, but
Have you have you played the beta for Overwatch 2?
I have not.
Okay, so it's faster pace overall. It's faster pace, and the decisions that you make are of more like significance. There's more value to it. So if like because it's 5 on 5 now instead of 6v6,
Oh, okay.
and so when you go down, if any of your players like get eliminated and have to respawn, it's a huge impact to the overall team. But at the same
Mm,
time, they've rebalanced the characters to try to give them a little bit more speed, a little bit more like decision making, and like there's more value in what you're doing. Everything you're doing is more emphasis driven. Like it's so much more important that you're doing the right decision every time.
uh,
So I think it increases the overall skill gap of the game. A lot of people might not agree with me on that, and a lot of people think that like this game is just Overwatch reskinned. But one of the things that might entice people to come back is it's now free to play. They're switching from the loot box system to a battle pass system, and they're adding a couple of new characters and new maps. And they're
there you go.
eventually gonna have PvE and like a story driven game mode.
Yeah. Which that for me is the story person in me sounds is actually kind of excited for that. So
Yeah,
see what they do there.
yeah. I think I'm gonna come back to it and like really get into it because I played the beta and I was having a bunch of fun, but the problem was is like the over. I'm not gonna say it, but I kind of want to say is like a little bit the Overwatch community is toxic,
Yeah, yeah,
and like it's hard to get people to come play with you just for the sake of playing with you sometimes.
yeah.
It's just like let's just go jam, like let's go hang out. Just like no, we have to win. Everything has to be serious.
Yeah, right.
That kind of thing.
Mm,
I don't
yeah,
know. It's my personal experience with Overwatch.
yeah.
So
You definitely see, yeah. I don't know. I may check it out myself whenever it's out. October 4th is the release on that. So very soon, I'd say. But yeah, man. I think for Overwatch fans, I'm very happy for most Overwatch fans. I think it's good. I think it'll be a nice little change of pace there. Um, so yeah, Overwatch 2 was a thing. I think towards the first half, there wasn't really too much more that caught my eye. Um, there
I think
was um, there was Flintlock. Well, did you have something? I guess that caught your eye at all, Mike?
I think it might just be worth mentioning, like, they did touch on like, for people that wanna go and actually watch these YouTube videos and the breakdowns of the games, they did mention, like, The Elder Scrolls, they mentioned Fallout 76, having a little bit more of an expansion, and
Yeah,
I think the big one is Arc 2. They had a little bit more of a teaser to basically say, like, "Hey, we're still working on this." Um, that didn't have, like, anything really of note other than to announce that it still exists. Like, "Hey, look at me, I'm here,"
yeah,
kinda deal.
yeah,
What were you saying about Flintlock? I know I watched this as well. It's not really my style of game. It looks really cool
yeah.
though.
Yeah, it looks so Flintlock seems it just reminds me of Assassin's Creed. Like I have to say that. Kind of reminds me of that combat style where it's very like melee focused and you do have a pistol for range, but um it seems like that combat there is very Assassin's Creed, at least from the older ones. But yeah, I mean overall it looks like you're kind of in a you're in more of a more of I say I guess one ancient maybe the right term, ancient world. Um kind of just like
Very fantasy driven, like
yeah.
magic. Like I don't even know how. I don't even know how to say it, really.
Yeah,
It has so many different elements from games that we've seen in the past.
yeah, I mean, exactly. Um, and some of the mobs look crazy, man. Some of the monsters and stuff like spiders, and it seems like there's a lot of different environments to explore. So,
Yeah.
overall, yeah, I mean, it seems that's really like from what they showed. That's like what I was able to dissect from it. It's kind of just like looks like it's got a lot of fun combat and may have a little bit of
It's
a
like
story to it. It's interesting.
yeah, it's like Assassin's Creed vibes, but also like Gears, not Gears, God of War kinda
Yeah.
like animations when you're fighting bosses. It's like
Oh
what
yeah.
yeah, it's kinda all over the place. Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
I'm
I
I'm
mean,
intrigued to see what comes of it.
yeah. And I mean, I've said it here before. I mean, it's coming out on, you guessed it, Game Pass day one. So I mean, I'm definitely gonna check it out. Like, that's the best thing. I don't even have to pay anything, and I could just play this game. Are you kidding me? I'm in. Um,
Let's get it.
I am in. Um, yeah, there was more stuff on Minecraft Legends was a thing. A couple other interesting games. I know. Lightyear Frontier. Actually, you know what? I do want to double back really quick, like towards the beginning, because there was a game I completely forgot about that looks really really fun. It's called High on Life. I don't know what you're thinking. Is that a game about like drugs? Is this not safe for children? It may still not be
Uh,
safe for children, but
kind of.
um, it is. It's actually from the makers of Rick and Morty. So you can already put yourself like in that headspace. But it's essentially like an FPS game in that kind of in that almost Rick and Morty universe. It's not Rick and Morty, but it's very much that art style if you watch the trailer. And you essentially have a gun, like your pistol kind of talks to you and it has a personality. And like there's a bunch of
Yeah.
like inanimate objects that have like personalities and stuff, and like the biggest thing for me is it's a very colorful world, which like immediately I look at this and I'm just like I could spend hours in here just like looking at all the colors, and like it
Yes.
almost gives like cyberpunk vibes because there's like a city segment and stuff, but there's also like these like what look like enchanted forests that look very color, like very just color popping, and it looks just like stupid and in all the right ways kind of thing. And there's like abilities and stuff. It's like you have a knife that talks to you. I mean, a knife, come
Yeah, when the knife comes out, oh my gosh.
on.
So the
uh
knife comes out, starts talking, and he's basically a psychopath.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
screaming, he just goes, "Stab, stab, stab!"
No,
It's like, what in the heck?
no.
The
But I
game's pretty graphic, though.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely pretty great. What are these Care Bears in a lab that like it's crazy,
Yes.
dude, crazy. Um,
I mean, it's if you've ever watched Rick and Morty, it's that in video game format,
yeah, yeah.
basically.
But anyway, it's called High on Life. It looks like a blast. It's coming to Game Pass. You already know. I'm gonna check it
Yes,
out and
sir.
make a Rick and Morty voice the whole time. But yeah, it's actually October, very soon. It's not far. Definitely be checking that one out. And yeah, that was definitely worth mentioning. It just looks like a lot of fun. So definitely I would recommend possibly seeing what that's up to when it comes out. Um, there's actually one. So there's a couple more games I want to mention before we get to Starfield. Um, As Dusk Falls is one. It's a very interesting style, and you'll see almost immediately when I show the trailer here. It's very kind of like comic book, like
Oh, it's
you're just
very
seeing,
comic book.
yeah, you're seeing like frames, and um, there's like very like kind of minimal movement, but it seems but like from what we've seen, especially in the trailer, it's extremely story driven and choice based. So like whatever choices you make will affect the entire storyline. So I mean, which is right up my alley. I mean, if you're if you've played any like Quantic Dream
Yeah.
games or anything like that, seems like very much like that, but it's presented in a way that you don't see very often, which is like that very like kind of frame by frame style. Um, but yeah, that was definitely something worth mentioning. And best part about this is it's coming out next month in July. So it's pretty much right around the corner. It's going to be kind of I think their big like July release for Game Pass. So it's definitely something I'm probably gonna check out. It's unlike anything I've seen. So um,
Yeah, it's like it's an interesting game, but the elements in the trailer remind me of like a couple of like thrillers that you get in Netflix or any type of
yeah,
like TV series. So this is very much like a movie, but it's an
Oh
interactive
yeah,
movie, so
exactly.
definitely
Look,
definitely pretty cool. Definitely pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So I mean, they show like the choice tree and everything. It's insane, and a nice little like poster at the end there. Um, as dusk falls. See, this caught me. So you can experience it solo or multiplayer up to 8 players, which I have no
That I
idea how
don't
that's gonna work.
yeah.
I saw
8
that and I was like,
players.
what? Like, why is this multiplayer? I don't know how they're doing that. But I mean, we're gonna find out next month because it's coming July 19th. Um, so literally in almost a month to the date at the time we're recording this. Day one Game Pass. I don't know, Mike.
All of them are.
Yeah,
All of them are,
I don't know. I don't know how we're. I don't know how that multiplayer is gonna work. I'm very curious to see that. So, um, anyways, moving on from that, there's a couple things. The Rock Blade Point, which is a battle royale. It's coming to Xbox.
Yeah, it's getting really popular too, so I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if that pops off.
yeah, for sure. I've heard a lot of good things about it. The blade combat and it's really good. So,
Yeah.
be curious to see how it performs to a wider audience. Grounded, of course, is getting a version 1 later this year in September. So if you at all liked pre-release Grounded, essentially it'll be launching in September with a full-fledged story. So you can play through that, up to 4 players. Very fun game from what I played. It's got a very it's very like it has base building, it has resource management, but it also has a underlying story to it that you can play. So and you can just
Yeah.
go around and fight and it's one of those games that's like it could be very unforgiving too. So it's like from like a combat standpoint. So it's definitely something
Yeah.
if you haven't checked out already, I'd check it out.
Yeah, for people that don't know what we're talking about, it's basically a game. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but the video game version of it.
Right. Exactly. Made by
Yeah, it's
Obsidian.
just
So
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so you're just these tiny children and this yard filled with bugs that are twice, if not quadruple your size. Um,
Yeah.
you're fighting
Yeah,
to
you're
uncover the
like
story.
reduced to half an inch like tall or even
Yeah.
smaller, like super small. So
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting concept, and it'd be worth checking out with the full release. That is in September. Um, Other than that, there was some Diablo 4 news for those into Diablo. They are introducing a new class to the game, the Necromancer. And
mhm.
there was some more gameplay they showed off of that. So very exciting there. Sea of Thieves is getting a season 7. With this season, it seems as though the main content update this season is going to be ship customization and customizing your crew and
Yes.
naming your ship and all that.
That
It's
actually looks
very
really cool.
yeah, those look pretty cool.
Gives you more personality.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, there's a couple other games that are worth note. I didn't mention before, but the last case of Benedict Fox is a platformer, very much like kind of Ori vibes. It looks very well made. I think most platformers we've seen have been like, for the past couple of years especially, been like
They've been getting
absolutely
really good.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like really, really story driven, like really emotional. They like captivating is probably the best term to use.
yeah, definitely.
And this looks, yeah, like so the last case of Benedict Fox, you probably say it's fair. It's fair to say that it's like a horror mystery, like solving kind of game, but it looks like Benedict Fox, the main character, I'm assuming, becomes a little bit corrupted along the way, and you have to go into like his past and like
Oh, yeah.
character building. It's like some of the stuff that they're teasing and like the elements and the monsters. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's looks really
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
It looks
yeah.
like an adventure.
For sure. That's coming out spring of 2023. But yeah, if you're into platformers at all, it looks like something worth checking out. Um, So there wasn't too much else, I think, on top of that I wanted to cover besides the main reason I think most people watched the showcase probably was the unveiling of Starfield gameplay from Bethesda.
Oh,
It's
good old Bethesda.
the upcoming RPG from them, the long awaited.
Tell
Trying
the
to
people what you saw.
so we as I mentioned, we saw essentially a nice little mission gameplay for the most part. And they also went into detail about all things that they pretty much like said, here's the game. Like this is what this is what you can do in the game. So they go through a mission, they show the shooting mechanics, they show the resource collection you can do because there's going to be over 100 procedurally generated planets in the game that you can explore for resources. So essentially, you can fly around this galaxy, go to these planets. But there's also an underlying story that you can follow as well. You can go completely open world and just explore these planets, do what you want. But there's also going to be, I mean, it's an RPG first and foremost. So there's going to be a story path that you can follow, and you can have a more linear experience. Choice is entirely up to you. There's also fully fledged ship customization in the game, so you can create your own ship,
Yes.
make it look however you want, make it function however you want, literally do anything there. That looks super dope. I think overall, from a gameplay standpoint, like what we're showing now, the first thing I saw the chat flood with the second they showed him walking out the ship was, "Oh my god, 30 FPS! Why?" That was like the first thing that people were saying, like, "Why is this 30 FPS?"
Yeah.
And I think it's a good question, especially in 2022 for an RPG game. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna judge it too harshly. It's I think, especially after explaining what they're going for, and who knows? I mean, I think on PC it'll probably run at whatever frames your
Oh
hardware
yeah.
can handle. I mean,
Whatever.
this
Yeah.
is very much like they're showing this on an Xbox. Granted, probably Series X, but still, like it's a console. So and by the time hardware, we're gonna have a lot of hardware upgrades between now and the time this game comes out. So 40 series card probably gonna obliterate this game. I'm just gonna say it. Um,
You're
and
not wrong.
so so yeah, I mean, I think you'll be able to play however many frames you want on PC. But yeah, I mean, so I'm not too worried about frames. But from a gameplay standpoint, I mean, just like going around, I mean, the UI looks very very interesting. I think it looks pretty clean for the most part. Um, and kind of the whole interface there. I mean, the guns, there is like a weapon wheel style of thing, which can be hit or miss, but it seems like they did a good job of this one. Um, and throughout the trailer, the main character is choosing what looks like a P90. That's like the best way I can describe how this gun looks.
Yeah, that's actually yeah, that's a P90 to
Yeah,
a T.
yeah, like it's a very 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 close clone. But yeah, I mean the shooting looks from an FPS standpoint, the shooting looks pretty good. I think they've certainly improved on the shooting. I know, especially in older like Fallout games, especially like they always had the VAT system as like a crutch because the actual shooting in it was so bad. But I mean now that's improved immensely since then. So yeah, it looks pretty fun from a combat standpoint. They show the weapon wheel in action, everything as he's completely annihilating these space pirates. I can assume they're space pirates. I don't know if that's true, um
Well,
but yeah.
it says that on the marker when you point at the enemy, it said pirates. So I always thought it was kind of strange in the trailer. It's just a guy sneaking up on two dudes that are just robbing a place. It's
Yeah.
like, aren't you also looting? Like, he's gonna come out here and start killing people? I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening, but there's so much more we needed to learn.
Yeah, and definitely much more to uncover. But yeah, essentially goes through this like little space compound. I'm killing these people. One thing, and I just completely missed it, but one thing I thought was really interesting. So like you see a ship land, the actual trailer itself, and then like you can essentially like jetpack over to the actual
Oh
ship, and then he
yeah.
just off spawn just starts like just killing these guys. It's pretty funny. Um, but yeah, Todd Howard gave the full presentation. They went into detail about what missions will involve, and they even show a little bit of the story and like other parts of the universe. And um, they yeah they show off a little bit of that. They go into ship customization. It's like insane the amount of customization they're touting for that. But yeah, I mean, I can't help but get a little nervous when they say we have a lot of planets you can explore and you can go and do whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's when it's like, especially from Bethesda, it's like, um, I can't help but be a little scared, Mike. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's totally doable now because they probably have looked for inspiration from uh, No Man's Sky, because No Man's Sky has basically perfected the art of random generated planets.
Yeah,
Um, I think they the Space Odyssey kind of like vibes that you're getting when you look at this game is definitely seem to be a trend now. I don't know if you notice like more and more it just seems like people are becoming more obsessed with space. Maybe it has to do with like in real life, we got billionaires going to space now
yeah,
and like trying to like there's a new space race, but it's corporatized kind of thing. Maybe that has
Yeah.
something to do with it. Maybe it has to do with like the movies, Interstellar being like one of the big ones that I think of. It's just it's really cool to see for me. Like I'm totally into space. Like I know like I
Yeah.
dive deep into YouTube stuff for space. So when it comes to this, I also get vibes of like Star Citizen. Have you ever
Yeah,
seen or
yeah,
played
yeah.
Star Citizen?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like cautiously optimistic that they can do what they're hoping to do. But I'm not. I got to be real, man. I'm not going to be surprised if they fumble the bag on it
Yeah,
because it
and
might be too big.
that's we're going back to the point I mentioned before. Like we could have a whole episode about if we think games are getting too ambitious. And I think if this for some reason doesn't do as well as we hope, I mean, that conversation is going to be more relevant. It's
Oh yeah.
like what are we doing? Like, should we should we just make smaller games? Like, is that what it comes down to at that point? Like, is it are we trying like do we not have the technology for these ideas that we're like presenting at this point? Um, like, should we wait? I don't know. It's too early to
You
talk
know,
on that. I don't think.
I have a theory. Are you ready for my
I'm
theory?
ready.
I think game developers are concentrating more on what the game looks like than how it actually functions.
Yeah, I
That's
could
what I
agree.
think.
I could agree with
I
that.
think I think I think there are games that have really, really good ideas, really, really good stories, and if they just concentrated on that aspect, they would be successful. Whereas some of them have like good ideas, but all they really concentrate on is what the game looks like. So it's like, okay, you have the best looking wallpaper simulator I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, what am I supposed to do with this? I can't, the game's not complete. The game's broken. Can't load in. But it's like, I can go load up an N64 game that looks like poop and it plays amazingly because it's like they understand or they perfected the game.
Yeah. It's like when you asked me the question about would you rather play a pretty game or a game that
Yes.
looks like crap but functions well? And it's like I want something with substance. And what's going to
Yeah.
have substance? The game that looks terrible but actually is
It's
really good. Like,
it's complete. Yeah.
yeah.
We just want a game that's complete. And everything that we're showing obviously is a beta. It's like in game as well, which is pretty cool. It's on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the idea of building your own base, building your own ships. Have
Yeah.
you ever played RoboCraft? Have you ever heard of that game
No, I
before?
don't think so.
It's like a battle royale. Like, you remember BattleBots?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's BattleBots, but you're creating your own bots in the game.
That's pretty sick.
It's super sick. And that's like the building phase of this game of this ship in Starfield. Like it looks just like that. It looks really cool. And like there are elements of Star Citizen walking into your own ship, trying to get in. It's like you can build a huge ship
Yeah.
and spend so much time like walking around it. They have like weight characteristics, the cargo space. Like,
Yeah.
dude, this is madness. Could have a lot of success.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean just the ship combat and space combat. I mean that's a whole thing too.
Yeah.
Like you can go out in
Yeah.
space and just fight. Like you could do that for hours probably. Um
You know what? Last thing I'll say about it, just to be a little bit optimistic in a way it's kind of backhanded. I hope that Fallout 76 sucked at launch because this game is gonna be amazing.
Oh,
That's what
dude.
I'm hoping for.
I love that theory. I mean, hey, we may find out. And because it's coming out in early 2023, so it's
Yeah,
originally supposed to come out in November. I'm not going to be upset about it though, all right? You want to delay your game, that's fine. Okay?
yeah, we
But
don't get mad anymore.
I just hope it's a complete game. That's all I can hope for. I don't know, cautiously optimistic. As much as I'm tired of saying that, I feel like nowadays it's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting to the point, man, where I'm expecting more from indie developers than AAA studios,
Definitely.
and that's wild because the
Yeah.
indie developers like three guys
Yeah, I know. It's like
in a
small
garage.
team. Small team.
Small team, and then we got 2,000 employee AAA studios releasing a game that can't run custom games. You know what I mean? Like what? Like what?
Ugh.
Your server's shutting down every Thursday. What are we doing here? Come on.
What are we doing,
But
man? What's going on
but
there? 1,000
but
people?
I
I don't
I digress. Okay, I digress. I'm not trying to bash anybody or
know.
name names, especially. But this game in particular, for people that are listening and not watching, go to your computer, type in Starfield, and look at it.
Yeah,
Just look at it. It's pretty. It's
yeah,
really cool.
it
The
is.
breakdown that Todd Howard gives us is like it's fascinating. And if you like space, if you're into space movies, like it's fascinating stuff, man.
Yeah,
Check it out.
yeah, yeah. Pete Hines and Todd Howard are two people that when I see them at a game showcase, like ever since Fallout, they show Fallout 4. It's like I'm always like excited to see them, whether or not like the game is gonna be like not up to par or something like
Yeah.
that. Like it's still exciting to see them like be excited talking about a new project, and it's just been they've been in the industry for so long, and it's like they're just like they're becoming household names to a lot of like RPG fanatics, you know. So
Oh yeah. Easily.
yeah, but I mean, the worlds look. I mean, come on. I mean, the worlds look spectacular. So I'll be excited to go around on planet Z531 and fight some tarantula-looking horse. So, um, yeah,
Or Gargan
yeah,
or Alpha Centauri.
yeah, something like that.
Look, yeah, it's looking good, man. It's looking real good.
Yeah, we can only hope. It's the biggest thing is I just again but to your point, I hope there's like substance, and I hope they really focus on especially the RPG elements of this game, because like the biggest flaw of Fallout 4 was the fact that there was like a couple of missions that were amazing, but then there was a lot of filler, and it really showed, especially the longer you played. And so it's like, gosh, I'm really hoping there's a lot more like substance to this, like it used to be in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, where it's like you play these side quests and you get completely invested, and it's like not even the main story, and it's just I feel like there wasn't as much of that as I would have hoped in Fallout 4. So that's the biggest thing. If there's that substance and there's that true RPG at the core, it's gonna be a good game. But they just need to nail that.
All right. So, what do you think of the overall week? Do you think it was a win?
You know, Mike. You know what I think?
What do
I
you think?
think. I think there's there was definitely some stuff that's like, okay, cool. I'm glad that's like I'm really happy I saw that. It's getting me excited. But it's like I don't know, and I've seen articles talking about this too. I don't know if it's just the fact that E3 is missing that's like adding to the way that like a lot of people are kind of just feeling meh about like the showcases. It's like, but yeah, there's a lot of this that's kind of just like it's like, all right, I'll sit through this trailer and maybe there'll be a good one next. And then you sit through 10 and then you finally get one that's like, okay, this looks interesting. Um, and not to be pessimistic, I still love gaming showcases. I always will. It's going to be something that always excites me. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's definitely, and I've mentioned this to you before. I think we're definitely in like a period of like 2022 is kind of like there's no E3. There's nothing really like with the exception of Starfield and like Redfall, there's nothing really like I'm like super excited looking forward to like that I'm like itching to play. And I'm certainly
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to keep an open mind to, stuff like As Dust Falls and those kind of like more indie titles. I'm definitely going to check them out with Game Pass and getting those for free. Um but yeah, I'm really hoping that next year and maybe 2024 we'll start like seeing some especially with Unreal Engine 5 rolling out and becoming more prevalent. I think we're going to see some real bangers in the next couple of years. At least that's my hope. And especially with E3 coming back, I'm very excited to see how the ESA comes back and really showcases gaming. So,
Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I really do. Yeah. For me, I thought it was a total win. I felt like a lot of the games are games that I wanted to see.
yeah.
So a lot of the games on the list, like some of the games that we didn't really even cover, felt like it was kind of for me. Like I'm just excited, man. I'm just excited. That's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of good games coming out in the next 12 months. Agreed for sure that we don't have that. Like, I think we're really lacking that heavy hitting title where everybody's just gonna be like, "Oh my god, we have to play this,"
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while for that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think overall it just gets me upset too about Bethesda. And like ever since the Fallout 76 release, it's hard to watch a Bethesda trailer and be like, "Oh my god, I can't wait for this." Like it's just
it
we
used to be like that.
yeah, like Fallout 4 it was like, dude, I went to midnight release when that was a thing at GameStop.
Mm.
I don't even know if they do those anymore. I went to the midnight
No,
release.
they don't.
I skipped class the next day like to play that game because I didn't care. I was an adult, so I just like just like skipped and played. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoyed that game and I was like in that universe, and I just love the Fallout games. And yeah, I mean, with 76, it was just it's such a letdown. It's like it pulls you out, but like you just really hope that the next release is gonna. And like we're at a point now where we're just really hoping the next release is gonna hit. So there's a lot riding on Starfield, man, especially for Bethesda fans. And
Yeah, yeah,
they just have to do it right. And I can only hope that this delay is a step in the right direction, and it's an indication that they're really trying to do. They're really trying to like do this right. So
yeah. I think that's fair. I do think like with the entire list of games, I'm getting more of a vibe of like just doubling down on things that I already liked. Like I like Overwatch. They're doing Overwatch
yeah,
2. It's like I love racing games like Forza. They're doing Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon 5 add-on DLC. It's like Minecraft is super popular. They're doing Minecraft Legends, which is basically just isometric like expansion
yeah,
like platformer almost. And yeah, it's just in Sea of Thieves even like the customization into Sea of Thieves give it more personality to it.
yeah,
They're just adding, I feel like, to stuff that's already successful. It's like we're in the era of movies where we're making a sequel for everything.
yeah. It's like a
We need
remaster.
original. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think that might be the era we're in. Like I'm not hating on it, but I do get what you're saying. We need that heavy hitting title.
yeah,
And
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, for me, Unreal Engine 5 has a lot of promise, and I think like especially when we start
that's
seeing
probably
a bunch of
yeah.
games of that, and we start seeing like the next iteration of Witcher. Like, I mean, I'm gonna have to definitely
Dude.
go back and play all the Witchers leading up to 4. But yeah, I mean, the fact that that's gonna be an Unreal Engine 5. I mean, but it's also two sides to the coin too, right? Because they pulled a Bethesda and they released Cyberpunk, and it was kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's great, but they was just so
Great
riddled with
now.
bugs. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's a lot
great
better
now, but
now,
it took a
yeah.
while.
But it's
It took a
like, dude,
while.
it's like that was CD Projekt Red. Like they made Witcher 3. That's arguably one of the greatest games of all
Yeah.
time. And then they come out with Cyberpunk. And like if you have a good PC, you can run it. And you may not get that many bugs, but you're still gonna get a lot of bugs. It's
Yeah.
like, but if you're on console, you couldn't even play the thing. Like it's just like, and you're just alienating a whole population of gamers there.
Yeah, and then people don't forget. They don't forget when it
Yeah.
gets to that level. Like I recommended Cyberpunk to a buddy of mine for PS4. He played it and I think he didn't talk to me for like a week when it came out. Like he was legitimately upset at me. He goes, "This game's broken, man. Why would you do like just like, bro, I'm sorry, like it looked good."
Yeah, like looked good, but that last gen wasn't hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I mean, these studios, it's like these big names who like people have a lot of trust in. It's just
Yes.
they're losing it, and it's just the most unfortunate thing to see because it really dulls a lot of excitement for potential future releases. And like, although like Witcher 4 is going to be a thing, people are going to
It
be
better.
looking at those trailers and they're going to be like, even though this looks great, I'm scared, and that's what sucks. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a testament to the mistakes that they've made.
Yeah,
And I don't think that's on the consumers. I think that's entirely on them
yeah, definitely.
and their marketing team and shareholders,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we
basically.
can we can only speculate so much, right? But I think it's pretty safe to assume shareholders, marketing,
Mhm.
maybe taking on too big of a scope, and then not, it's already too late in the development to realize where you're taking this is way too big, and then like scope
Yes.
creeps a thing, and then you have to put out what you have, and just
Yeah.
hope that it's not as bad as you're thinking it is. Um,
You ain't wrong.
Anyways, there's exciting stuff coming on in gaming, right? I know this is a little like I know we're like sitting here ranting, but a lot of good stuff coming out. There's good things to look forward to. Try to be optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, halfway through June now, and there are plenty more games coming out this month. Admittedly, like not super heavy hitters. There's a lot of DLC coming out at the end of the month, and I think we've talked about this several times. We're basically on like a bit of a void of new heavy hitting games and especially hardware, man. We're right on the cusp of getting those 4000 graphics cards. Intel's coming out with their own GPUs. AMD's revitalizing theirs, like adding a little bit more. AMD CPUs are apparently going to be the shindig. I'm not going to curse, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be good. And yeah, I mean, we're basically 12 months out from just, I think, arguably the greatest gaming period that we've had in a long time.
Hey, he
And
said
I'll
it.
say it right now.
He
I'll say
said
it
it.
right now.
He said it.
Gonna get
What?
all the nice hardware with all the new generation of games, and then we're gonna get Unreal Engine 5 coming too, man. And then monitor prices are gonna be coming down. You're gonna get those like, dude, it's just gonna be madness. It's gonna be so
Yeah.
good.
And Mike, we
And
trust.
it'll finally get my Sony TV with a PS5 in it because they like to be 6 months behind Xbox for whatever reason.
Or
Jesus.
what?
So
When did the Elite controller come out? I don't even remember when the
like
first iteration came
like
out.
5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
Sony's 5 years behind on that. Crazy.
Yeah, but I mean that's because they've been sleeping. But they got new directors, okay? They ain't sleeping no more.
All
They
right.
just saw the TV from Xbox and Samsung. They're coming for the Sony TVs. Mark my words, they're coming for it. So,
I can only hope, Mike. I can only hope.
yep. Anyways, I think we've ranted for about 20 minutes now.
Yeah, we're definitely over. So
Collectively.
yeah, we should probably we should pop a dipski.
All right, let's wrap this up. This has been episode 22. Thank you very much for listening. Feel free to hit us up in all the comments below. I mean, we got links as well if you want to talk to us directly on Twitter. Let us know how we're doing. Feedback? Kyle, you like feedback? I like
Yeah,
feedback.
sure.
Join the Discord. Hit us up, really. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
without further ado,
Join in on the discussion. That's like the biggest thing. Like
please,
it's one of those things.
please,
Like
yes.
like I love talking about this, and like especially when people have something I don't necessarily think about, or they have an opinion that's
Yeah.
different from mine. It like I love that conversation. So I love it.
Yeah.
It makes me realize things that maybe are flaws in my ideas or something I'm not thinking about. So love that.
Contrary to what my friends think, I do like to be wrong and be pointed out that I'm wrong because I'll never make that mistake again. So I can be right all the time. See?
Yeah.
So getting feedback is always very, very much recommended and appreciative. So definitely do that. But without further ado, this has been episode 22, and this is the M2 podcast. There's a lot of twos in this, and I'm your host, Michael Anthony. My co-host, Mr. Jake Heath, Kyle Heath. And yeah, signing out, right? Appreciate you.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Peace.
Peace out.